Okay, we're recording. So yeah, welcome everyone to the March 2021 meeting of IPMS London. Happy St. Patrick's Day and all that stuff. At least it was reasonable weather, at least here out there. A little bit chilly, but there you go. So I'm going to activate my screen sharing. And then we'll get started. All right, you should all be seeing the IPMS London logo, etc.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so we will get started. So, yep, welcome everyone, and happy return for those who haven't been with us for a while. We're always glad to see you. Just a reminder, we do have the other Wednesday nights. We have build nights, both here at Zoom and online or at the church as well, which is always posted the Wednesday just before the meeting. Standard Zoom etiquette. As you can see, when you all came in, you were all muted. Feel free to unmute yourself, but if you're making a bunch of noise, just mute yourself again. Club business, not really a lot to report. Again, thanks to us being in those lockdown zones, the library is still not making meeting rooms available, and rightly so. So just the normal thing, be safe and all that. Any other club business, Mr. Jeff?
Nothing from me, Stuart. No.
Okay, Mr. Dawson, anything from you? Nope. Okay. So just a reminder as well, I know just before we went to air, a couple of people mentioned they might be changing their 1-year build. If you do, please send an email to Jeff and myself, just to let us know what it is so we can keep the record up to date. So, you know, just so we can all wag our fingers at you when it's not done in next January. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Club 1-year build. Remember that?
I've been here for 2 months.
Well, if you haven't started one yet, feel free, send it off to Jeff and
Actually, I sent you the pictures of it already. So
was that it, your F1?
the
No.
RX-78.
Oh, okay, even better. See, perfect.
The perfect grade.
Good. Well, see, I don't have mine started yet, so I'm way behind the 8 ball. I do also want to point out I did get my latest issue of IPMS Canada's magazine RT. And then I got it late last week, and I happened to open it up, and I opened it up to this wonderful article on a Star Destroyer by our own Jeff. And yeah, he did a great job. He's a published author now. Hopefully, he can still get his swelled head in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a fantastic piece, Jeff. You did. This is like great full detail and great photography. You know, and I love it. I love at the end some of the photos you did with the lighting in that when you were first playing around with that.
Yeah,
So,
that was fun. One thing I would
go ahead.
I was just going to say the only thing I would suggest to anybody who's the least bit interested in writing one of these things, do it, because it's a lot of fun, and it kind of reinvigorated my mojo a little bit just to even try to capture what I was doing. I mean, it makes you slow down and think about what you're doing when you're building one of these kits, and it's kind of fun to make a story out of it. So I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend the experience.
So your official picture on here, when was that taken?
That was taken 3 years ago.
Okay, you look very young there. I'm just saying. It's like my headshot.
It was one of the daughter's weddings, so
Okay.
it wasn't that long ago.
It's like one of my headshot I use for a lot of things, which is like 10 years old. So no, that's great. Congratulations. It looks really good. And those of you who aren't yet members of IPMS Canada, this is one of the advantages you get, a fantastic magazine full of awesome articles. This issue in particular, like I said, I haven't gone through it all yet, but do highly recommend it. And like I say, great organization, and definitely check it out. IPMS Canada. All right.
Yeah, unfortunately the club and member liaison person is pretty weak. Other than that, it's a good crew.
That's you. Yeah, he's nodding.
Yeah.
He's keeping himself
Weak.
muted.
Tell you
Is
what,
that what?
Jeff.
Hey,
Tell you what, Jeff. You can take over anytime you want.
No. I much prefer to criticize. Much better at that.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Carrie's on the IPMS Canada executive, and and then we also have Bill, who's our local liaison. So exactly, it's been challenging right now with no shows and that, but still a lot of things happening. And again, great magazine. Other things for those who don't know, there is a great article archive on a little USB key, which folds out like that. These are fantastic. I assume they're still in stock, Carrie? They
Last
sold
I
out
heard,
again?
they were in stock. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're talking 1964 to 2015 PDFs of all the issues, which of course I just dropped, but I copied it to my hard drive, so made a backup. So yeah, fantastic resource as well. Then of course decal sheets and goodies like that. Okay, before we go on to On the Table's local news, I'm sure most of you know Richard at Brofdale's got a very large, it's not an estate, it's a sale. Someone's decided to downsize their stash. Definitely worth a look. He's been posting stuff on his Facebook page, a lot of classic Airfix and some Asagaway, a few things like that. I actually picked up my first vacuum form, so I think over the summer I'll be paying a lot of questions to Michael and some visits on Wednesday as I go through that with the 80 grit sandpaper. But no, a lot of good deals. I know Jeff in particular. He scored a good one. Why don't you tell us about your Concords, Jeff?
Yeah, I went in and I picked up an Airfix. There's a whole bunch of Airfix kits. I picked up a 172nd Airfix Concord box. And Richard, as I was checking out, said, "Oh, you like that one? It's you might find that there's actually 2 aircraft in that box." And there were 2 planes in it. One of them was the original Airfix molding from 1967, and it wasn't of the production plane; it was of the prototype, and it was an accurate shape and everything. Hardly any pieces, but the shape was perfect. So the downside was that I think it had been started by a young modeler who hand painted the wings gold and the fuselage silver, and it looked awful. It was awful. So thanks to a number of members of the club for suggestions as to how to strip paint, I've managed to get most of it off, and it's looking pretty good so far. So and I've arranged to get a fresh set of decals from JBot. So he's done a nice job on those, and I look forward to seeing them. But anyway, definitely some good deals there.
Yep, some good deals. A lot of classic stuff, mostly aircraft, almost all of it.
They're all old kits. So if you like old kits, you're golden.
Yeah.
If you don't, forget it.
Well, I did pick up a Holy Grail kit, an Airfix Angel Interceptor on the weekend, so that was one I've been wanting for a while from the Captain Scarlet series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I think
so
Mike got a C-130 Hercules.
That's right. He got that.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of nifty things. So definitely check it out. I think Dave, did you get something, if I recall?
yeah, I picked up some vacuum form monstrosity. It's like what was it? It was the Sea Dart.
Sea Dart, yeah, that's the one you said you were hoping to get. So
yeah, it's the Execuform Sea Dart, and I looked at it, and then I looked at it again, and I found some reference photos, and I thought, oh my god! And then I did a Google search, and I found that Mach 2 actually makes one of these as well. I know Mach 2 is not too wonderful either, but now I've also got a Mach 2 Sea Dart, which I'll probably build, and I'll probably never build the vacuum form one now. It's just too much. I don't want to have to put that much work into it. The Mach 2 kit will be hard enough. It's almost like a vacuum form, only it has a little bit more detail. So
well, they did have quite a few vacuum forms, a lot of stuff like old frog stuff in bags and stuff like that. So a big trip down memory lane, and he's still unpacking boxes. I think like 32 or 33 boxes came in, And
Yeah.
I think he's about halfway to 2/3 of the way through. So
Oh, and one more thing I found. He's like, I'm looking at the vacuum form. So he's like, oh, there's a package here somewhere of all this clear plastic. And so I picked up this, which is the clear plastic that Squadron put out for vacuum
yeah.
forming canopies.
Hmm.
So it's like there's like 6 sheets in here. I've been looking for some of this stuff. So now I've got myself 6 sheets of it. So now I can vacuum form some canopies for a few
very good.
ones I have in mind.
So does anyone else have any other news about stores in the area? No? Okay.
Oh, Stuart, I picked up at Broughdale, where I'm doing this resin printing. I picked up this, it's a real weird name. It's a special primer for resin and also
Oh,
works
yes.
on styrene and nylon.
Yep.
And it's great stuff.
I was going to ask you, tried it already?
Yeah, it works really, really good.
Good, good. Yeah, I noticed he had that too. So I figured some people would probably grab that. So good stuff. Okay, let's move on to On the Tables. As always, thank you everyone for your submission. We'll start with George. I put your description there, George, but you can just unmute yourself and we'll start with your lightning.
Okay, thanks,
All right.
Stuart. This is Asagaway 172 Lightning. I picked this up years and years ago at a show, and I didn't realize it at the time, but all the panel lines were raised. So I sanded them all off and rescribed most of the panel lines, the ones I could do without curves and things, just to make it a little bit nicer kit. The gear bays had nothing in them, so the photograph showed all this really interesting ductwork for the radiators back there. So I used some plastic and sprue and rods and wire and built up what I saw in the pictures. The paint job is all just L-clad. I really like the pinup on it. I don't know if you can read it there, but the caption is "Embraceable Joy" with some Japanese kill marks there as well. I like this scheme. I like the red spinners. I replaced the front guns with metal rods because the plastic ones they just didn't look very good. Put some in, some radio wire on it with stretched sprue just to spruce it up a little bit, and just different L-clad colors to bring it out. I gave it just a little bit of weathering and gave it a flat finish. I thought the flat finish sort of dulled it down enough to make it look a little used, given that this plane was probably in the Philippines in 45, I think. My first time I've done a Lightning.
Okay, moving on. This nice looking Voodoo.
This is the Revell kit. I've had it for years and managed to get a hold of a Belcher Bits decal set. Their Canadian Voodoo set. I like the photographs I found on the internet of the original batch of airplanes in '64. This was when, 61, when Canada bought a whole pile of ex-US Air Force Voodoos and put them in Canadian livery. So this one is from '62, I think, from the Alouette Squadron in Ottawa. I did L-clad finishes on it, and having read an article in Airfix Model World, I used salt. After painting the plane, the L-clad aluminum, I then wet it, sprinkled salt all over it, let it dry, and then hit it with a light dusting of Jura aluminum color for a darker shade. Let it dry, hit it with salt again, let the salt dry, and then hit it with white aluminum. So if you look at it, doesn't show up 100% in the photos, but it's got sort of that beat up metal skin look that you see in the photographs. So it's not just a clean look. It looks like it's been sitting outside for a few years. The decals went on really great considering how old they were. I backdated it to '62. The Revell kit is a newer model. So I carved off the infrared sensor that sat right in front of the pilot on the nose. I took off the the nighttime marking strips on the sides and carved off some antennas just to backdate it to the earlier model. And that was it. It was a good build. Good. Revell did a nice kit.
Very nice. Okay, Robert.
Can't even spell my name right.
Well, I thought I cut and pasted. I'm sorry. I will
Yeah.
fix that.
Yeah,
You
it
missed
just
the
needs.
Y.
Yeah, you missed the Y at the end.
I missed the Y. All right. It was probably the cut and paste missed the Y. You
All
got a
right.
pile. You got a pile here, so I'll go back and forth.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So first up is Kamen Rider Denno sword form. This is based off a Japanese live-action TV show. Basically, there's multiple different forms. This is the first one that they came out with. Sword form, it also comes with the default platform, and you actually build it in that form and then change it over the sword first. And when the other kits come out, they'll be all mix and match. Next up, this is Black War Greymon from the Digimon series. Everything that you see that's gold here is actually painted. So it used the Gundam gold paint marker, metallic marker for everything. Most of it was just gold plastic I painted over, but I believe there's a picture of the back of it as well. Next. Yep. The entire design was actually just left black, and I painted that all in.
Sweet.
So that's all custom paint job there, and that was just a picture from parts of building it. And yep, that was it before I put on the shield. Close up of the head, just to show off the gold paint there. This is the Zeong from Mobile Suit Gundam. This is actually the full effect kit. So all the different effect parts, the rocket boosters and the extra hand beams are all part of that kit. It also gives it a conversion, so that way you can take just the head and use it as an accessory for an entirely another kit. The Real Great RX-72 do recreate one of the more famous scenes from Mobile Suit Gundam. And as you can see, I was watching it in the background. There's the RX-78. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a picture of the box right there. And this is a picture of the perfect grade. So this is the inner frame, where you do in 3 parts. You do the inner frame, you do the truss framing, and then you do the outer armor.
Wow.
This has been the better of the last week and a half that I've been getting this done. Oh, and the Zeong head in its just floating head form.
That's pretty impressive. I know we've talked about these perfect grades on the podcast, and yeah, it's a pretty it's a lot of work, but
it is a hefty kit. There are full-on metal parts.
Right.
You don't get to see it in this picture right now, but there are some metal etching stickers, which look really great, especially when you start seeing how they're covered up and everything. And I've gotten the right leg covered in armor as of right now. I just didn't get a chance to send them those pictures because I finished it last night.
That's okay.
But
How tall is it?
It's that entire box. Like, it's actually bigger than that.
Right. So.
And it's a 1/60th. It's 1/60th size. So
Fair size.
Well, that's the first picture I've seen that actually shows me the scale of this relative to the driver.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that. That's pretty neat.
In the middle there, yeah.
Yeah, the pilot's in there, and pilot's normally.
He's not driving it from the crotch. I never understood the crotch part.
Yeah, that came up in discussion, didn't it?
He doesn't. Yeah, no. This is one where I think there's only like 2 series where they do it, and one of them is a porn parody. So yeah.
Those crazy Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you. Okay. So yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, on to Mike's dad and our honorary member, Peter. Mike, you're on the air, sir.
Before I start gabbing, I've got this wonderful little box just above the winglet that says, "Please move this."
Yeah, I think that's something with mine.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that.
Yeah, I see that too.
You do see? Yeah. I see that as well. All right, hang on. I got to see how I can.
I had this dude baffle for a while.
No,
Move the nuclear material away from your computer.
What was that? Sorry, were you being a smartass again?
Yeah, of course. I've opened my mouth. I'm a smart ass. What do you
All
want?
right, all right. Hang on, let me just try. I'll try to share. I think it's something with the screen sharing, but
It is. I think it's your Zoom window. So where you have Zoom on your end,
yeah.
that's where it's showing on the screen. So that's why it's asking you to move it away, because it's not trying to repeat loop itself.
Yeah, I know it's weird because I have it. Well, I have it actually doing the slideshow screen, but I'll just change it to screen one instead of the app. I'll just share the screen. We'll see if that helps. All right, you guys see you guys see it now?
Yep.
Okay, let's try that. Okay, Mike.
That's a little 1/200 scale MD11 that I found in my stash and sent it to my father for something different. The kit decals were very old, so I ordered up initially Air Canada markings, but that supplier came back to me and said he's having printer problems. And because of COVID in California, he can't send the printer into the repair depot, and the repair guys can't come to his home to fix it.
Oh, damn.
So he was kind enough to offer me and probably a bunch of other guys a refund, and I managed to find these Martin Air decals for him.
Very nice.
Oh, that's nice.
And we move on. This is cool.
Yes, that is incredibly cool. My father didn't tell me, but there's a wind-up spring inside there, and it actually rolls across the floor.
Oh, cool.
Yes. He's going to do his best to shoot some video, but last time he shot video with a phone, I was not able to open the file on the computer. Obviously, if I had a phone, I could probably open it. But that's one of those laser cut wood things that he had a good time muttering about. Because apparently some of the parts don't really give you any idea of what goes left or right. It just goes, oh, there's no instructions. I am vague on the new terminology, but it has that square thing for the phone to shoot.
Oh, yeah. So what you do is it's a QR code. So
Thank you.
you shoot that, and that takes you to a web page,
Yes.
which will have the PDF of the instructions. Yeah.
No, all it had was videos.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Which again, he found to be a little of a pain in the butt because every time he wanted to go backwards, he had to either be fast enough to pause it or
Yeah.
reload it and watch it
Interesting.
again.
Okay, that's annoying. Well, I hope he didn't swear too much in front of your mother.
Oh, I'm sure my mother's learning some new words.
That's neat. Very good. Okay, now we move on to your stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, I think you guys have seen the two on the left and right side. The center one is the Yukon that I recently finished with a Mach 2 and AIM resin conversion for it. The one on the right side is a North Star that I converted. I think you've already, yeah, I've seen that one before too.
Very nice.
I'm very pleased with the way that came out. It's my first time with using Tamiya LP series of paints for the aluminum and white, and also the first big project using Mystery Color Leveler. And I dare say that shit makes me look like a half decent painter.
There you go. It's I told you, unicorn tears.
Oh, the red is also LP series paints, and I don't understand what I did wrong because it was the same batch of paint, but the red on the wings went down with no orange peel and just a little bit on the tail plane, which I buffed out. So I don't know what I did wrong there.
Looks nice.
And I've left it relatively clean as per some of the feedback, other than, again, on the tail plane, there's a couple of streaks from the inboard engine's exhausts. And if you look underneath the Canadian flag in that view, there's a combustion heater for tailplane de-icing. And there's a little bit of weathering back there, exhaust smoke back there. But other than that, the wheel hubs are got a little bit of coloring to them. That's it.
Very cool.
Yeah, you can compare the weathering between the Yukon and the North Star. You can see I did very, very little.
Looks great.
Awesome as always.
J-Bot decals version.
All right, Mr. Gerard, your Mirage 2000. And I'm sorry, you didn't send me scale or anything, but I'll let you explain that once you unmute yourself. There you
All
go.
right.
All right.
Don,
It is the
I'll
2
interrupt.
scale of Mirage. What's that, Mike?
Were you fortunate enough to see the picture of my dad holding the kits?
Yes, on Facebook. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I seen them.
That
He's
was
more
nice
than
of you.
welcome.
That was nice of you, Don.
Yes.
So as I said, this is the 32nd scale Kitty Hawk Mirage 2000 DN kit. It's built as a D. Far as fit and finish, ranges from Lindbergh to Tamiya. So you can conclude your own conclusions from that one. It is actually a relatively nice kit to build. The only additions are Edward photo watch in the cockpit, because both instrument panels are for the B trainer, not any of the tactical assault aircraft. And it has quick boost Hornet seats in it, because they're the same seats. They just give you, the Edward photo watch gives you the canopy breakers to put on the head box. And other than that, painted with Tamiya. Freehand.
Very nice.
And the Kitty Hawk decals, I don't know who prints them, but they work fabulous.
Cool.
They sucked into all the little rivets on the wings and everything. So I'm assuming they're cartograph.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Looks nice. A Mirage is on my list one day. Okay, Ben.
Yeah, this is the Tamiya 120th Ferrari SF70H from 2017. The car was driven. This is Sebastian Vettel's car. It also comes with the option of Kimi Raikkonen's car. The only difference is the number, really, and the name on the car. If you're familiar with Tamiya car models, it's sort of similar to all of them. Comes with in red, white, and black plastic, which was a bit of a pain to deal with as far as painting goes, because you have to prime everything and do it in the original colors. So I used Tamiya rattle tans and lacquers. And I also echo what Mike said. The lacquer paints are really nice to work with. The clear coat is a Tester's wet look gloss coat. It was really nice to give it a really shiny look. Tires are rubber, and the decals are sort of reverse decals where you put them on you position them where you want on the wheels. Apply water, and just when it gets really wet, you just transfer over. It was a real challenge to build. This was actually a model. It was a Christmas present from my son. It took me a lot better part of last year to do because it was pretty involved. As you can tell, it was built with a lot of sub-assemblies, and that resulted in a lot of paint on the mating surfaces, which caused a lot of fit problems because the kit is very precise. So I ended up spending a lot of time just sort of sanding off the mating surfaces. And it's pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. And it comes with masks, paint masks, which was very helpful.
Yeah.
And you can also get an aftermarket decal set for it, which has more carbon fiber decals than is included in the kit. But it was a lot of money, and apparently every part on the car is decaled in carbon fiber, which would have added a ton of work. What I did instead for the suspension parts, so I used the fabric mesh and I sprayed silver through it, so you get the little lines and carbon fiber effect. It actually came out half decent.
Very
So
nice.
it's a pretty sharp looking vehicle. It's nice to get something like that done. It's a lot of work.
It's amazing to see the revolution and the slow change of the designs over the years. Like
Yeah.
I look at these front spoilers here.
That was a sub-assembly.
Yeah, but it's still the actual design for it. And then,
Yeah.
when I first saw the picture, I glanced at this and I didn't realize this was the fin here was an actual part. I thought it looked like the old traditional shape.
Yeah. It's a hybrid car, so I guess it's gas electric.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's a lot of emphasis on these cars nowadays on
Yeah.
aerodynamics. A lot of winglets like all over the place. I end up using a neat kind of white glue made by Gorilla Glue,
Right.
which is very handy to use. It dries clear, and it has pretty good sticking power.
Very
It's
nice.
nice for those delicate parts that are already painted.
Yeah. No, looks great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, Carrie, you're up next.
Okay, so this is the Tamiya A1h Skyraider that I've been working on for the past it's probably 6 months now. I'd hoped to get it done way earlier, but didn't. So anyways, it's done now. That's the underside. On each kit, I try to do something new, something to challenge myself, something to improve my skills. So I put a little bit more effort on the weathering. So that's the underside. One of the unique things about the Skyraider is that it leaks oil like crazy. An old Navy joke for pilots who flew them was when they landed, it told the maintenance crews to fill up the oil and check the gas because it just went through oil like crazy. Something else unique about the Skyraider was the exhaust. So the weathering you see up around the number 577, a lot of oil was in the exhaust, so it got pretty dirty pretty quickly. This aircraft's a little unique in that it's from VA-25 Fist of the Fleet. I was originally going to do VA-113, the Stingers, but a friend of mine in Edmonton said, everybody does a Stinger, do something different. So I'm not sure why I listened to him. This is a MiG killer. It's unique. It shot down a MiG in Vietnam. Actually, it shared a MiG with another pilot. I'm quite happy. The kit's gorgeous. It's really a beautiful kit to put together. It's typical to me in terms of its fit, accuracy. I didn't use the Tamiya decals. I used an aftermarket decal sheet from Aeromaster, early Aeromaster. So, and they went down quite nicely. That's it.
Very, very nice. Okay, Johnny.
Hi, this is 135th Leopard 2A7 from Men, and I add some modification, so it's RC now, and I paint all the camo without any masking. I just use AK Real Clear, which sprays very well and almost never clog in the airbrush. With a 0.2 nozzle, and I add some LEDs too. Yeah, it's very difficult to make. Like I sent, you can see in this photo, it's still not perfect. You see at the tail, the right back corner, there's little gap between the upper hull and the back. You see that corner, and that's because there are so many stuff in the car. I just can't. So hard. When I finish everything, I try to assemble it. It's like I cannot fit it. Let's see what's wrong, and then I rearrange it. Okay, now this side is perfect now, but the other side has a new problem. So I spend like 5 to 10 minutes every time I try to close the hull. Yeah, and
that's good.
And for the tracks, the rubber pads are separate from the metal link, so I have to glue every pad one by one. I took 1 hour each for the tracks, and fortunately, I took photos and videos indoor first, because in today afternoon I took it out to the just the sidewalk, and on the cement road, the pad just fall off immediately.
Oh dear. Well, I found your video because you posted your video. If you hang on a sec, I'll see if I can get this over. All right. Do you guys see the Facebook video screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, let me play it. I don't think I'll have the sound, unfortunately, but I don't
And
think I had share sound on. Oh, there it is.
so one of the reasons I don't have enough space in the vehicle is I'm using a 7-channel receiver right now, which I only use 4 channel, I think. So I'm getting a new receiver to save some space. Also, I'm thinking about getting another set of metal tracks because for this one, I actually tried the blackening liquid. I know it's zinc alloy, not pewter, so it's not that good, but I didn't expect the blackening liquid just eats away lots of the metal, so the pins, the track pins are not perfectly fit anymore. They are a bit loose. So, and the whole track is not as doesn't run as smooth as it used to be. So next time I will just maybe paint it instead of using blackening liquid.
That's pretty cool, especially when you realize these early Tamiya kits, you know, they were designed to be like motorized and that. And that looks great, Johnny. You did a fine job.
Thank you.
All right, so that is the end of the slideshow. Let me just go back here. Does anyone else have anything else to share? Well,
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Sure, of course you can, Kevin.
Okay. I'm not sure if it was George who built the CF-101 Voodoo.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. Was that the 72nd scale or the 48 scale?
That was 72nd.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't remember. Have I shown my FW190 at a monthly meeting yet?
I recall pictures, but I haven't seen it in a meeting, I don't think.
Okay, well, let's see here. I'll share my screen. I'll do a quick show and tell.
There you
go. Of that.
Okay, and I'll be right back. I gotta hit the little boys' room, so
okay,
carry on.
Good luck.
So this is the kit I built. I bought this kit in around 2002, and I started it. I got the cockpit done, and I got the basic fuselage assembled and the wings on. And then something happened. I stagnated on the kit, and it went back in the box. And it was in there for many years. And then at one point, I gave it to Doug Booth. Thought he might want to build it, but it's not really his thing. So after a couple of years, he gave it back to me. And a few months ago, I decided I was going to finish it. So I started doing some work on it and finished it up. So I started this kit about 18 or 19 years ago, I suppose. And it's finally done now. So 72nd scale, it's Tamiya. So it was a beautiful little kit. There's a shot of me there painting the lighting gear wells. And there's me starting to mask the white band on there. I tried to put the decal on because I was being lazy, and the decal was just a nightmare. So I tossed it and just decided it would actually probably be easier and faster to paint that. So that's what I did for the white stripe. There's the white on it there. There's a kit basically done. There it is, completely done. Things I did on this, this is my first 72nd scale World War II aircraft I've ever built. And so I started a few over the years, and they never really got done. So this one's actually finished now. I used Tamiya acrylics on this because I had the right colors in the Tamiya. So And I freehanded it with my airbrush. So that's all freehand camouflage on there and the little dots at the back and stuff. Easy line for the antenna. I'd never used easy line before, and it's called easy line because it's really easy to do. I was very pleased by that. And another shot of it there. The only thing that happened was I got a little crusty spot here on the back of this wing when I put the final semi-gloss clear on the model. I don't know what was on there, but it, you know, one little blemish on there. So I just wanted to call it done, so I didn't go back and fix it. It's all just kit decals on here. They went on really nice. You can see in a few places where, you know, if it didn't go right into the panel line, I tried to, you know, cut it along the panel line so it would look a little more realistic. I gave it a wash with a little bottle of MIG. The MIG wash is a dark wash that I have just to make the panel lines pop a little bit. And so it really shows it off. And what's going on? Okay, hold on. So there's a side view of it there. Rear view. This decal on the spinner, that's the kit decal I put on there. That was about probably 20 minutes of cursing to get that one little decal on. It was very tricky, lots of setting solution. It finally laid down really nice. So I was happy with that. And that's about it, really. There's nothing too fancy going on. Nothing too. So some weathering on the bottom here. There's the shell ejection ports. I put a bit of, you know, pigment behind there, dirtied it up. I have no idea how dirty these planes were. I don't have any reference on it too much. So I suspect by this time, and this is like end of the war, JG 45 or 42, I think it was. I don't suspect they lasted very long. So at that point in the war. So some more weathering there. The loop antenna on the bottom, I replaced with a piece of wire. I was going to use the kit part, and I had it in one of those little tiny clips to hold it, and I went to get it out one day, and the clip was empty, so it's somewhere here in my hobby room, Lord knows where. But it was a blessing in disguise because this little piece of wire looks much nicer. And I used very fine metal tubing to add the little indicators on the wings. One of the things I noticed about these aircraft that's very kind of unique to them is this little thing that pops up when the landing gear goes down, so the pilot can tell at a glance if his gear has come down or not. So, oh, and also something I did on here is the Pitot Tube on the wingtip. That's Albion alloy again. I think it's 0.5 millimeter OD, 0.3 millimeter ID tubing. And then the inner tubing is the 0.3 millimeter OD and 0.1 millimeter ID. So, so it worked really nice. This tubing is beautiful. You can just cut it with a hobby knife, just roll it gently, and the hobby knife will just pop through it. So it works very good. So overall, I was pretty happy with how the model turned out. A few firsts for me, and I really dig how the easy line looks. It just works great, works really great. So on the topic of airbrushing camouflage schemes like this, kind of a funny story. I mean, there's that one there, and then last year I did, where is it? I did this Ford GT, right? Which turned out really nice. The paint went on really nice, and it was glossed and polished and all that stuff, right? And using the same airbrush. And then earlier this year, of course, there was this Falke, which is, you know, my background here, right? So it turned out really nice, lots of painting. Well, you know, the tip on my airbrush has been bent for like, geez, it's like, must be like 2 years now or something, right? Like I noticed it ages ago, but it was working fine. As you can see here, the tip of it's a 0.3 millimeter needle. You can see the little bend in it, right? So I didn't want to, you know, take the time to fix it. I bought one of those sharpener things like 7 or 8 months ago, and I was going to use it to fix the needle. I never got around to it. Kept painting, kept finishing models, whatever. And finally, I decided, you know, I'm gonna tear down the airbrush and actually clean it fully, because I never do. I just blow tons of lacquer thinner through until it's clean, and then I just go on the next color or the next project, right? So, but when I took the tip off and to take the needle out, all this fuzz was in here, right? So, and the tip that was on there had like 3 times as much fuzz packed up in the tip where the needle goes, right? So I realized this is from using Q-tips when I'm cleaning out the paint cup. to swab it out and to sort of swab it on the inside. And so after I posted this on Facebook, somebody contacted me and they said, you know, Q-tips are really bad. And I did a bit of research, and sure enough, Q-tips shed fibers all the time. So I've started using like a sort of a broad soft bristled brush to clean off the tip of my airbrush and to clean out inside the jar so I don't get this anymore. So, but I couldn't believe the fact I had so much crud inside my airbrush and I'd still managed to paint that FW190 the way I did, right? So I can't imagine how much easier it's going to be when my airbrush isn't full of fuzz like this. So I thought that was kind of a funny story and a little bit of a lesson, I guess. Take better care of your airbrush than I do, because I almost never tear it down. Like I said, it had been over 2 years since I've taken this airbrush apart. So I'm going to probably do it after every project now, just to be sure. But I'm always scared of doing more damage when I rebuild the airbrush than when I'm actually just using it, right? So anyways.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I have been horribly remiss, because somehow I've been playing around with my email filters, and somehow Jeff, your email with your attachments ended up in my spam filter. So
somehow.
Let me clarify that. Let me correct that for you, my friend. So we will share the screen again.
That's called AI.
That's called AI. It's called something. Give me 1 sec, and you can tell everyone about your pictures. So let me just get out of here.
No, this is fine. We can put it off to next. I don't want to interfere with.
No, that's okay. No, I felt
Ron
bad.
stuff.
I actually genuinely feel bad. It doesn't happen very often, so you know. We might let you be on the podcast this weekend too.
And I can well imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Screen 2
Oh,
will
geez,
share.
thanks.
All right. So let's share screen 2. We should see. You guys see Jeff's Concord in gold?
Yes.
All right. So Jeff, I will just go through each email. You can just. So this is the one to your Concord. Where'd he go? Jeff, did we lose him?
I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing anything? Everyone else is.
And I see Concord.
He sees a gold Concord. Why don't you
I'm
see
here.
I know, but do you see a gold Concord?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is your picture. Tell people about it.
Well, I've already told you about this. Is the kit that I got at the stash, and you can see the gold paint, and I've already taken off most of the silver paint. So.
All right. So that's the first picture.
But you can see the difference between the production model in the background, and the prototype in the foreground. Also, the interesting thing was the prototype, the old one. The instructions are Craftmaster, which is a Canadian distributor out of, I think, Strathroy. Maybe Stratford, could have been Stratford. Anyway, they rebranded Airfix. They kept the Airfix brand on, stuck Craftmaster on. They were around for quite a while, but it was a unique, according to Scalemates, it was a unique boxing just for Canada.
Interesting. All right, moving on. This wonderful one. You should see another one there now. This is Jeff's old computer. This is why we're getting him a new one. You see it now, Jeff?
This is the the Williams Brothers 1/32 scale Sparrowhawk, and it's still under construction. This is the one side where I've got majority of the decals on. The pilot came from Bill Dawson's collection. One of the meetings a couple of years ago, he brought in a bag full of 1/32 pilot pieces, and I scoffed it and finally found a use. I repositioned his arms a little bit so he looks a little bit of a tally-ho kind of position. The putting on the rigging was a nightmare because you have to actually, you can barely see it in this picture, but you actually have to cut through one of the wheel supports for on the original plane too. So, genius engineering all around.
Very cool. All right, let me go back to your other one. I think your bandwidth's dying on us, buddy.
What?
Your bandwidth. You're like delayed, and then you're a bit choppy. All right, next one's up, the B47 for you.
All right, I'm moving to another part of the house. Hang on.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Because you sound a bit choppy all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and we lost your picture.
How's that,
so
better?
We figured. Yeah, that's better. Do you see the picture?
I turned the picture off so that I'd have better bandwidth.
Oh, well, you need the picture on so you know what you're describing.
Oh, I can see that anyway.
Oh, okay. No, you don't. Okay, you don't need your own picture then, as long as
Right.
you can see what I'm sharing.
Right. So anyway, this is the Asagaway B47 that I've rebuilt into the CL52 version. Anybody who's on Facebook has already been watching this project as I go through it. And this is just a picture for this meeting more than anything. The wings aren't glued on, the wheels aren't glued on, tails are tails are sort of not glued on, but it's all held in place with tack just to see what it looked like. But you get a sense. I was trying to do the same thing that George was doing, trying to give a weathered airplane, a weathered silver or a natural metal finish. And that's what I wound up with. And the day glow on the actual aircraft did fall apart like that, which apparently is unusual for day glow, but it's a pretty accurate rendition of what the actual plane looked like at that time. The engine, the Orenda engine at the back, that's basically a Sharpie inside a penny roll. It's been reshaped to look like a pod with a bunch of wire and plastic and gewgaws and greeblies.
Just amazing. You've done really well on that.
I'm actually kind of pleased. The reason it's sort of stalled as a build is I'm waiting for the new decal set to come from JBot, because the one that came with the kit was just completely useless, obviously, and it was not for this version anyway. Simple pattern. You can see here and there, I've put on some stencils and this, that, and the other just from random kits. That's been a bit of a chore going in the research to try to find out where stencils were on this aircraft. But this is the first one I've tried to do multicolored natural metal finish and a weathered metal finish, and really quite pleased with the way it turned out.
Very nice. I think you got one more email you sent me.
They're all just pictures of the CL52.
Yeah. So here's two more.
Yeah, you can just skim through these. It's just the same plane.
Yep. It looks good though.
All right, that's it.
Well, my apologies, and I'll get those added.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll stop sharing that. All right, so does anyone else have anything else to show off?
Yeah, and in the background there, you can hear my printer running away. I bought myself a 3D printer, and it's quite handy for a lot of things. I've printed off some windows and things like that to use on my dioramas for buildings. Also, I printed off a couple of just some bus statues that I painted up.
Yep.
Things like that. And the other thing that's cool, you can print off little tools. Like here's a little sanding tool to print. And this one here is called a paint pineapple, which is used when you're doing miniatures or things like that. You either use some double-sided tape, in this case, to hold the miniature on there, and it fits nicely in the hand to be able to get in and do detail painting, you know?
Very cool.
So this printer is quite handy for all kinds of things. And in the future, I'm going to buy some German soldiers that I've seen the files for on a couple of different sites. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. And these soldiers are very, very well detailed. And this printer has enough resolution to be able to capture all the detail on them and look way better than the injection molded kind of things that you get from Tamiya or Masterbox and such. So I'm quite pleased with this thing. And once you set it going, it just does its thing. And in some cases, it takes like 24, like this wing of a another figure that I'm doing. That took 26 hours to print, but it's a layer height of 10 microns, which is like about 10 thousandths of an inch for each layer on this thing. So the detail comes out incredible.
Can I ask how much it was you paid for the machine?
Yeah, it was I bought it at Canada Computers, and I also bought a liter of resin, and it came to, with tax and all, about $450.
God, they're getting cheap.
And I saw them on sale recently, of course, at Canada Computers for about $50 less than that.
Wow. Yeah, I think back to 10 years ago, some of the stuff we were playing around with and the cost and that, it's just
Oh
amazing.
yeah, it's I mean, and this thing, as you see, like it's sitting right here, it's only about a little bit bigger than a coffee maker, you know, and it makes no noise, about the same noise as a computer, you know, with the fans running in it.
Well, and for the work you're doing with your dioramas, yeah, you're a perfect use for it. With all the amazing stuff you do.
There's all kinds of stuff, like even like wine bottles and jars of pottery for all kinds of, you know.
I know Dave's been playing around with he plays around with the much bigger ones, but yeah, he'll probably say the same as me. It's amazing how quick the technology is evolving.
Yeah, Ron, I'm curious, what make and model is that you're using there?
It's a Creality. Let me think of the. I can tell you.
I'll see if I can find the link on the Canada Computer site.
Sure. Because there's quite a few different makes and models now, and they all look almost identical, right? They look very similar.
This is the Creality LD-002R.
Okay, because we have Anycubic photons at work right now. We have 3 of them.
Right.
And they're on sale. They've been on sale now for like months for $169 US.
Yeah.
Now, are they the resin printers, Dave, or the filament?
It's the resin printers, yeah.
Really?
It looks almost, the inside looks almost identical to yours, except instead of having a lid that lifts off, it's got like a door on the front that opens. But that's the only real difference. And so, and then there's the wash, we have the wash cure station, and it looks similar to what you have there, and the lid lifts off, and they're $100 US now for the wash cure station.
Yeah, and then what I did here, I made my own UV curing box. I just used good old foam core.
Yeah.
Did a UV bulb in there.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's incredible. Like I stopped casting resin like maybe 3 years ago now. And isn't that 3 years? This technology suddenly hit the market and it's become like insanely cheap. And the quality, like you said, is just amazing. I mean, I've done a bunch of stuff. I mean, I've shown this on the meeting before, but like for organic shapes like this, it's mind-bogglingly amazing when you're doing like organic shapes, and even for non-organic stuff, it just never fails to amaze me when I'm printing all amazing on tons and tons of stuff. You know, like the Stormtrooper helmet skull, and there's all these free files, like you said, out there, right? There's like a million free files out there.
Like everything that I've got here is like, and here's a figure that I've just printed a couple of days ago. And I mean, there's all kinds of undercuts and everything, and in there that you'd never be able to mold, like either silicone or anything, or injection, and anything at all like that.
Yeah.
And here's the head for that thing. And that's all one piece with this flaming crown.
Yeah.
On the top. It's and me being from a machinist background, when I saw the resolution on this thing, I went, wow, like it's almost sci-fi to you.
Well, remember, just a few years ago, we had the guy from the library, and they still have their printers, and it's a different technology, but yeah, even then, how far it's evolved. So very, very cool. Awesome. All right.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody needs anything printed sometime, I'm sure we could do that, especially original designs.
There you go. All right. Anyone else have anything to talk about?
There was one thing I wanted to go back about the perfect grade Gundam.
Yes.
So they did something really great with the runners for that. So when you're cutting out the pieces, they actually have it in sections. So instead of having like a full-on runner of pieces for various parts, they organize it in sections based on where you're cutting it from. So there's a section for head parts, there's a section for waist parts, and they even have like a little symbol on them to show you what that section is for.
Very cool.
And
Very
so I was reminded of that because I'm currently building the Hello Kitty crossover Zaku. And they had, for the Hello Kitty part, custom runners.
Crazy. Well, Bandai's just a leader in plastic injection. There's some very good videos that show their build process, and it's well worth checking out. So, all righty. Anything else before I close the meeting and we turn this into a build night?
Back in 95, I wanted to get a 48 scale PD1, and the only people who had one at the time was Coster. And Mike, you've been a bad influence on me. I don't know if you can see in there. Just, it's absolutely hilarious. It is so much fun. And it's so much work for, I've pulled it out periodically over the past, was it 25 years, and worked on it. And I decided, well, let's just do it. Finally get at it. It's hilarious. It's so much fun. It's like at work. We cut pieces to print, all come from a CAD model, hyper accurate lasers. And by the time you try to fit all these things together and weld them together, you're beating the living daylights out of things, sanding, grinding, pushing. And that's what this is all about. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I might actually buy another one. So
he is a bad influence, isn't he? Because let me see if I can get this into the light. So that's what I picked up at Brofdale's for my vacuum form.
Oh yeah.
I've got a what if
I'm
idea.
Airframe made a Fleet Fort that I'm going to try and get. So I'm going to call Brofdale, see if they've got one in that package.
Yeah, have a look, see what's there. There's a ton of very, very cool and interesting things. So.
Well, Stuart, it's going to be my dinner time very shortly. I'm going to have to leave right now.
All right. Well, thank you again. And actually, it's good timing because we're just going to end the formal part. So thank you again all for being here. Feel free to carry on. It's now back onto our regular Gray Butts build night.